The morning sun painted the golden wheat fields of New Seoul Colony in warm light. Soonja Park walked through the tall grain, her hands brushing against the heavy heads of wheat that would feed millions across 12 star systems. Her 3 children ran ahead of her, laughing as they chased butterflies between the rows. "Mama, look how big they grew," her youngest daughter called out, pointing at wheat stalks taller than herself. Soonja smiled. 20 years of careful work had turned this distant world into a garden. The soil was rich, the climate perfect, and the crops grew better here than they ever had on Earth. New Seoul Colony was proof that humans could build something beautiful among the stars. Governor Dae-ho Kim stood on the hill overlooking the settlement, watching the festival preparations below. Today marked another record harvest. The colony's 2.3 million people had every reason to celebrate. Their food shipments kept entire worlds from hunger. Their success showed other human colonies what was possible with hard work and patience. "Sir, the morning reports," said Mi-young Choi, handing him a datapad. She had been the colony's communications director for 10 years. Always reliable, always calm. Dae-ho reviewed the numbers. Grain production up 15% from last year. 3 new settlements ready to break ground next month. The terraforming equipment was working perfectly, slowly changing the planet's atmosphere to be even more Earth-like. "Good news all around," he said. "Tell the people we'll announce the expansion plans at tonight's ceremony." Down in the town square, Byung-soo Lee checked the defense systems one more time. Not that they had much to defend against. New Seoul Colony had simple shields designed to stop asteroids and weather satellites. Their weapons could handle dangerous animals or equipment malfunctions. Real military threats seemed impossible this far from any conflict zones. The colony existed in a peaceful part of the galaxy. The nearest alien species were traders and explorers, much like humans. Everyone knew about the dangerous zones where hostile aliens lived, but those were thousands of light years away. New Seoul was safe. Soonja returned home with her children as the afternoon grew warm. Her husband was already preparing for the festival. Their house sat among fruit trees they had planted when they first arrived. Everything here had been built by human hands, grown from human effort. "The Lees are bringing their famous honey cakes tonight," her husband said, "and the Chois promised to play their music." "It will be wonderful," Soonja agreed. The children have never seen a harvest this good. As evening approached, families gathered in the central square. Lights strung between the buildings created a warm glow. Tables groaned under the weight of food grown in their own fields. Children played games their grandparents had taught them back on Earth, while adults shared stories of the old world and dreams for the new one. Governor Dae-ho Kim stood to address the crowd. "Friends, neighbors, fellow builders of this world," he began. "Today we celebrate more than a successful harvest. We celebrate what humans can accomplish when we work together toward a common goal." The crowd applauded. Someone started singing an old Earth song and others joined in. For a moment, the colony felt like the best of humanity spread among the stars. Then the sky began to change. Mi-young Choi was the first to notice. Strange shadows moved across the stars, blocking out familiar constellations. She grabbed her communicator, calling the orbital monitoring station. "This is ground control, are you seeing this? We're trying to figure out what—" The transmission cut to static. More shadows appeared, growing larger. They weren't ships as humans understood them. These looked like living things, massive creatures swimming through space toward the planet. Their surfaces pulsed with organic patterns like the skin of some enormous animal. Byung-soo Lee ran to the defense center, his festival clothes forgotten. The screens showed dozens of the creatures entering orbit. Each one was the size of a city. They moved with purpose, arranging themselves in a pattern above the colony. "All citizens, please remain calm," he broadcast through the colony's speakers. "We're investigating the situation." But panic was already spreading. The creatures were visible now even without telescopes, dark shapes blotting out sections of the star field. Children cried and pointed at the sky. Adults gathered their families, unsure where safety might be found. Governor Dae-ho Kim tried to contact the creatures, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Unknown vessels, this is New Seoul Colony. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. There was no response. The creatures simply hung in space, silent and ominous. Soonja Park held her children close as they stared upward. What are they, Mama? Her son asked. I don't know, she whispered, but stay close to me. The attack began without warning. Streams of green liquid poured from the creatures like acid rain. Where it touched the ground, everything dissolved. Buildings, plants, people all melted into nothing within seconds. The beautiful wheat field Soonja had walked through that morning became pools of bubbling destruction. Screams filled the air as people ran for shelter, but there was nowhere to hide. The acid ate through roofs and walls like water through paper. Families that had lived here for decades vanished in moments. Byung-Soo Lee tried desperately to activate the shields, but they were designed for rocks and metal, not this biological horror. The defense weapons fired uselessly at the massive creatures, their energy bolts disappearing into the organic hulls without effect. Mi-young Choi stayed at her post, hands shaking as she worked to send a message to Earth. The communication array was failing as acid ate through its support structures, but she managed to compile recordings of the attack. Earth Command, this is New Sol Colony, she transmitted. We are under attack by unknown biological entities. They're using some kind of acid weapon. We have no effective defenses. Repeat, we are being destroyed. The creatures are the communications. Building dissolved around her. Mi-young Choi died at her post, but her message was already racing toward Earth at faster than light speed. Governor Dae-ho Kim found himself alone in the government building as the walls began to melt. Through his window, he could see his colony dying. The people he had sworn to protect were dissolving in green fire. The farms that fed 12 worlds were becoming toxic waste. He activated the emergency beacon and spoke his final words. Earth, this is Governor Dae-ho Kim of New Sol Colony. We trusted the galaxy was civilized. We were wrong. Remember us, remember what they did to us, and make them pay. The creatures finished their work in 6 hours. Where 2.3 million humans had built a thriving civilization, nothing remained but a dead rock floating in space. The attackers moved on without a word, seeking their next feeding ground. But one thing survived their appetite for destruction: the truth of what had happened, carried by radio waves toward a small yellow star where humanity's homeworld waited. Admiral Tae-min Hwang sat in the deepest levels of Earth's command center, 2 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains. The message from New Sol Colony played on the main screen for the 15th time. Around the war room, Earth's top military leaders watched in silence as 2.3 million human lives ended in 6 hours of green dissolution. The footage showed families running through streets as their homes melted around them. Children screaming as the ground itself turned to acid beneath their feet. Governor Dae-ho Kim's final transmission echoed in the chamber. Make them pay. How long ago? Admiral Hwang asked quietly. The attack ended 37 hours ago, replied General Sung Ho-yu. The message took 18 hours to reach us through the Deep Space Relay Network. Dr. Hee-jin Nam studied the biological readings from the attacking vessels. For 20 years, she had run Earth's xenobiology research program, always hoping first contact would be peaceful. These readings changed everything she believed about alien life. They're not ships, she said, her voice hollow. They're living creatures, massive organisms that feed on biological matter. The acid isn't a weapon, it's digestive fluid. They dissolved our people to eat them. The room fell silent except for the hum of computers. Earth's leaders stared at screens showing the empty space where New Sol Colony used to exist, a thriving world reduced to lifeless rock by creatures that saw humans as nothing more than food. Captain Jinwoo Seo entered the briefing room, still wearing his dress uniform from a promotion ceremony that now seemed meaningless. He had been scheduled to visit New Sol next month to inspect their defense upgrades. Now there was nothing left to inspect. Sir, Battle Group 7 is ready for immediate deployment, he reported to Admiral Hwang. Battle Group 7? The Admiral's eyes narrowed. Captain, we're going to need more than one battle group for this. General Sung Ho-yu activated a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. But this wasn't the peaceful image most humans knew. Hidden among the asteroids, cloaked behind planetary shields, invisible to most sensors, were ships. Hundreds of ships. Project Deep Strike, the general announced. For 50 years, Earth has been building a secret military force. While our colonies spread peace and agriculture across the galaxy, we prepared for the day when peace wouldn't be enough. The hologram revealed the truth about human space technology. Massive battleships designed for one purpose: the complete destruction of any threat to human civilization. They had been built in hidden shipyards between Jupiter and Saturn, powered by antimatter reactors, armed with weapons the galaxy had never seen. 12 full battle groups, Admiral Huang said, each one capable of sterilizing a star system. We told the galaxy we were farmers and explorers. We never mentioned we were also the best engineers of death the universe had ever produced. Dr. Hae-Jin Nam uploaded her analysis of the alien creatures to the tactical computers. I'm calling them Vorthak, based on their biosignatures. They're not just predators, they're a plague. These readings suggest they've consumed dozens of civilizations, maybe hundreds. A communication alert interrupted the briefing. The Galactic Council was requesting an emergency session. Ambassador Kyungmi Jang appeared on the main screen, her face showing diplomatic concern. Admiral Huang, Earth Command, she said formally. The Galactic Council has reviewed the new Sol incident. We offer our condolences for this tragic loss. Incident? Admiral Huang's voice was dangerously quiet. The Vorthak swarm has been a known threat for over 1,000 years, the ambassador continued. They've destroyed 17 civilizations in that time. The Council has developed a policy of territorial accommodation that has kept them from targeting major population centers. Accommodation, repeated General Sung Ho Yu. You mean surrender. Ambassador Zhang shifted uncomfortably. We prefer to call it practical diplomacy. The Vorthak are too powerful to fight directly. By providing them with uninhabited worlds and small colonies for feeding, we've maintained galactic peace for centuries. Captain Jin Wu Seo stepped forward, his young face hard with anger. You fed them our people to protect yourselves. The Council didn't know humans were settling in Vorthak territory, the ambassador protested. If you had consulted with us before expanding, Admiral Huang cut her off. The Council session is cancelled, Ambassador. Earth is withdrawing from all galactic treaties effective immediately. Admiral, please reconsider. Military action against the Vorthak will only escalate tensions. The Council can arrange for replacement territory for your lost colony. You don't replace 2.3 million people, Admiral Huang said. And you don't accommodate cancer. You cut it out. He terminated the connection and turned to his staff. General Yu, activate all deep strike assets. Dr. Nam, I want detailed intelligence on every Vorthak nest in the galaxy. Captain Seo, you're taking command of Battle Group Retribution. Your mission is simple. Find every Vorthak creature in known space and kill them all. Captain Seo saluted. Sir, what about survivors? Prisoners? The Vorthak don't take prisoners, Captain. They consume. Complete extermination is not just authorized, it's required. Across Earth's hidden facilities, the machinery of war began to move. Ships that had waited in darkness for decades powered their reactors and checked their weapons. Crews that had trained in secret reported to battle stations they had hoped never to use. In the asteroid shipyards, Chief Engineer Dong Hyun Kang supervised the final loading of humanity's most terrible weapons: gravitational bombs that could collapse matter into black holes, quantum missiles that phase targets out of existence, stellar manipulation devices that could turn stars into weapons. 50 years of preparation, he muttered to his assistant. I always hoped we'd never need any of this. Do you think it's enough? The younger engineer asked. Dong Hyun Kang looked out at the massive warships surrounding them, each one carrying enough firepower to destroy planets. The Vorthak have been the galaxy's nightmare for 1,000 years. They think they're the apex predators of the universe. He paused, watching as Battle Group Retribution began its departure from the solar system. They're about to learn what apex predators really look like. Dr. Hae-Jin Nam compiled the final intelligence briefing in her laboratory. The data painted a horrific picture. The Vorthak had been harvesting civilizations like crops, allowing them to grow and develop before consuming them. The accommodation policies hadn't prevented attacks. They had scheduled them. She uploaded her findings to Captain Seo's flagship as it jumped to hyperspace. The captain would need to understand what they were facing, not just predators, but farmers who had been cultivating the galaxy as their personal feeding ground. Admiral Huang stood alone in the command center after his staff departed for their ships. On the main screen, images of New Sol Colony played in an endless loop. Families celebrating their harvest, children playing in golden wheat fields, Governor Dae-ho Kim promising a bright future that would never come. "You wanted to see what humans are really capable of," he said to the empty air. "Your wish is granted." Earth's secret fleets disappeared into hyperspace, carrying death toward every corner of Vorthak territory. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity's greatest lie wasn't about their peaceful nature. It was letting everyone believe they were defenseless. Captain Jinwoo Seo stood on the bridge of the EDF Retribution as it dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Vorthak territory. Around him, Battle Group Retribution's 12 ships materialized from jump space, like ghosts becoming solid. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, built in secret shipyards and armed with weapons the galaxy had never imagined. "Sir, sensors are detecting multiple biosignatures ahead," reported Commander Subin Han from her tactical station. The intelligence was correct. This system is crawling with them. Through the view screen, Captain Seo saw his first living glimpse of Vorthak space. What had once been a star system with 7 planets was now a nightmare of organic growth. Massive biostations pulsed with disgusting life, their surfaces covered in what looked like tumors and feeding tubes. Smaller creatures floated between them like diseased moons. "How many worlds did they consume to build this?" whispered Lieutenant Woo Jin Park from the weapons console. His voice carried personal pain. He had lost everything on New Sol Colony. His mother Sunja Park, his siblings. His entire life dissolved in green acid while he was serving aboard a deep space patrol ship. "Scanning indicates biomatter from at least 40 different planets," Dr. Hee-jin Nam replied from her science station. "Multiple species signatures. They've been feeding here for centuries." Commander Subin Han highlighted the largest biostation on the tactical display. "That structure is roughly the size of Earth's moon. It's generating the smaller ships. A breeding facility." Captain Seo studied the readings. Intelligence had prepared him for large creatures, but this was beyond imagination. The Vorthak weren't just predators. They were living ecosystems that consumed entire civilizations and converted them into more of themselves. "All ships, this is Retribution," he broadcast to his battle group. "You see what we're facing. These creatures have been the galaxy's nightmare for 1,000 years. Today that ends. All weapons free. Show them what human engineering can do." The battle began with humanity's opening move, a demonstration of technological superiority that left the Vorthak completely unprepared. While other galactic species used energy beams and kinetic projectiles, humans had weaponized the fundamental forces of physics itself. Lieutenant Woo Jin Park fired the first shot, a gravity bomb that warped space-time around the nearest biostation. The massive creature tried to move, but gravity itself had become a weapon against it. Its organic structure collapsed inward, crushed by forces that bent reality. In seconds, something the size of a city was compressed into a sphere no larger than a baseball. "Target eliminated," Park reported, his voice emotionless. He thought of his mother's final screams and selected the next target. The Vorthak responded by launching hundreds of their smaller ships, living creatures the size of buildings that sprayed digestive acid like artillery. Commander Subin Han coordinated the defense with calm precision. "Quantum mines deployed," she announced. Pattern Echo 7. The Vorthak ships flew directly into humanity's most bizarre weapon. The quantum mines didn't explode. They simply caused their targets to stop existing. One moment the bioships were there, the next moment they had never been there at all. Reality edited itself to remove them from the universe, but the largest biostations were too massive for such subtle weapons. Chief Engineer Dong Hyun Kang activated the crown jewel of human military technology, stellar manipulation devices. "Sir, we're ready to demonstrate Project Solar Flare," he reported from the engineering section. Captain Sao nodded grimly. "Do it." Human technology reached out across space and grabbed the system's star. Ancient forces that had burned for billions of years suddenly obeyed human commands. Solar flares erupted in precise directions, carrying plasma heated to millions of degrees directly toward the Vorthak biostations. The creatures that had terrorized the galaxy for a millennium burned in stellar fire. Their organic hulls, which had resisted energy weapons and kinetic impacts, simply vaporized when touched by the fury of their own sun. Biostations the size of moons became expanding clouds of superheated gas. "My God," whispered Commander Subinhan. "We're actually doing it. We're winning." But winning wasn't enough for humanity. The Vorthak tried to retreat. They're surviving, ships turning toward the edge of the system where they could escape into hyperspace. Captain Sio had been waiting for this moment. "Activate FTL interdiction fields," he ordered. "Protocol extermination is now in effect. New technology deployed around the fleeing Vorthak ships, devices that made hyperspace impossible to enter. The creatures that had fed on dozens of civilizations found themselves trapped in normal space, unable to escape the consequences of their actions. "No Vorthak ship leaves this system," Captain Sao announced to his battle group. "We hunt them. Through every asteroid field, every debris cloud, every hiding place. Complete extermination." Lieutenant Woojin Park managed the systematic destruction with mechanical precision. Each Vorthak creature died to weapons that violated everything the galaxy thought it knew about warfare. Antimatter torpedoes that annihilated matter itself. Reality bombs that edited sections of space out of existence. Phase cannons that attacked targets in other dimensions. Dr. Haijin Nam monitored the bio readings as the battle progressed. "Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. These creatures, they're afraid. The biosignatures show stress chemicals I've never seen before." "Good," Captain Sio replied coldly. "Fear is appropriate when facing extinction." The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, 7 star systems worth of Vorthak biomatter had been reduced to expanding clouds of atoms. The nightmare creatures that had consumed 40 civilizations to build their feeding ground were dead, killed by a species they had dismissed as weak farmers and explorers. Chief Engineer Donghyun Kang reviewed the battle reports in his engineering section. Human losses: 0 ships, minor damage to 3 vessels from debris impacts. Vorthak losses: complete annihilation of all biosignatures in the system. "Sir," he called to Captain Sio, "we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Every major species is asking what happened here. The destruction was visible from 12 parsecs away." Captain Sio looked out at the expanding debris fields that had once been living nightmares. In the distance, other human battle groups were engaging similar concentrations of Vorthak forces. Across the galaxy, humanity's hidden fleets were systematically exterminating a threat that had ruled through terror for 1,000 years. "Tell them the truth, Chief," he said. "Tell them that the Vorthak made a mistake. They thought humans were prey." He activated the ship's communication system and sent a message that would echo across every civilized world. "This is Captain Jinwoo Seo of the Earth Defense Force. The Vorthak swarm that destroyed New Sol Colony has been eliminated. We are proceeding to the next infestation site. Any species that aided or accommodated these creatures should surrender them immediately. Humanity is not accepting prisoners." Commander Subin Han pulled up tactical displays showing the locations of other battle groups. "Sir, Admiral Huang is reporting similar results across 17 systems. The 2nd and 3rd battle groups are moving toward the core Vorthak territory." "And the galactic response?" "Panic, sir. The Galactic Council is demanding we stop our advance and return to negotiations." Captain Sio laughed, a sound without humor. "Negotiations ended when they dissolved our children in acid. Continue the advance." Lieutenant Woojin Park checked his weapon systems, preparing for the next engagement. His mother's killers were dead, but there were more Vorthak nests to destroy. Somewhere in the galaxy, other creatures just like the ones that had murdered New Sol Colony were preparing to feed on the next helpless civilization. "Sir?" he said quietly. My weapons are ready for the next system. Captain Seo nodded. The storm humanity had unleashed would not stop until every Vorthak nest was burning. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had two faces, the farmers and builders who spread peace among the stars, and the gods of war who emerged when someone threatened their families. The Vorthak had seen only the farmers. Now they were meeting the gods of war and finding them terrible beyond imagination. News of humanity's military capabilities spread across the galaxy faster than their warships. In the Galactic Council chambers on Nexus Prime, representatives from 200 species watched footage of entire Vorthak biostations burning in stellar fire. The creatures that had terrorized civilizations for a millennium were being systematically exterminated by a species most considered harmless farmers. Ambassador Do-Yeon Im stood before the assembled delegates, replacing Earth's previous representative who had believed in accommodation and compromise. She was a former military officer, chosen specifically because she understood what humanity was truly capable of. Esteemed delegates, she began, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. You have requested this emergency session to discuss Earth's military actions against the Vorthak swarm. I am here to inform you that these actions will continue until every Vorthak creature in the galaxy is dead. The hegemony representative, a tall being with crystalline features, rose from his seat. Ambassador Im, your species' aggressive expansion threatens galactic stability. The Vorthak threat was contained through careful diplomacy. Contained? Ambassador Im activated a holographic display showing the destruction of New Sol Colony. You call the scheduled massacre of entire civilizations contained diplomacy? 2.3 million humans died in 6 hours because you preferred convenience over justice. The chamber erupted in discussion as delegates argued among themselves. Many species had lost colonies to the Vorthak over the centuries, accepting it as an unfortunate cost of galactic coexistence. The idea that the threat could be eliminated rather than managed was revolutionary. Fleet Admiral Min Seo-Baek commanded the second wave offensive from her flagship, the EDF Vindication. Her battle group had penetrated deeper into Vorthak territory than any previous expedition, discovering the true scope of their enemy's horror. Captain Young-Ho Lim, report, she ordered through the communication system. Captain Lim's reconnaissance ship had spent 3 days surveying the Vorthak core systems. His findings would change how the galaxy viewed the ancient threat forever. Admiral, you need to see this. Captain Lim transmitted from the edge of a system that defied description. I'm sending the data now. The tactical display showed massive biofactories, each one larger than a planet. But these weren't just Vorthak breeding facilities. They were processing centers where consumed civilizations were slowly converted into new Vorthak organisms. Thousands of species floated in nutrient tanks, their bodies and minds being harvested to create living weapons. Dr. Hee-Jin Nam, now serving as the fleet's chief xenobiologist, analyzed the horrific data. Admiral, these readings confirm our worst fears. The Vorthak aren't just predators, they're farmers. They allow civilizations to develop to optimal biomass levels, then harvest them when ready. How long? Admiral Beck asked quietly. Based on the biosignatures, they've been doing this for at least 10,000 years. Every species in the galaxy that made accommodations with them was actually scheduling their own eventual consumption. Admiral, Beck studied the tactical display showing dozens of biofactories. Each one contained the processed remains of entire civilizations, billions of beings who had trusted in galactic diplomacy and accommodation. Their bodies were being slowly converted into Vorthak war forms, their minds harvested for biological computing systems. All ships prepare for factory assault operations, she broadcast to her battle group. We're going to liberate every victim we can find and destroy the rest. The assault on the biofactories revealed new depths of human military capability. Engineering teams led by Commander Jae-Hyun Shin deployed advanced medical technology that could restore organic matter from Vorthak bioslurry. Species that had been declared extinct for centuries began breathing again in human medical bays. We're bringing them back, Dr. Hye-Jin Nam reported as she supervised the restoration process. 17 species so far with partial populations recoverable. The Vorthak kept their victims alive in the biomatrix for easier processing. Captain Young-Ho Lim coordinated the systematic destruction of empty biofactories with weapons that turned the Vorthak's own biology against them. Viral agents designed by human scientists caused the organic structures to consume themselves, dying in the same agony they had inflicted on countless victims. But the galaxy's established powers were not pleased with humanity's methods. The hegemony. Council demanded that Earth cease its aggressive expansion and return to diplomatic solutions. Ambassador Do Yeon Im addressed their demands with footage of the biofactories playing behind her. You had 1,000 years to find a diplomatic solution. You chose convenience over justice. We choose justice over everything else. The galactic response split along predictable lines. Species that had lost colonies to the Vorthak quietly supported humanity's actions while publicly calling for restraint. The major powers that had benefited from Vorthak accommodation policies demanded an immediate ceasefire. President Yoon Suk-oh addressed Earth's population from the global government complex in Geneva. The entire human species needed to understand what their military was doing in the depths of space. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies, she began. Our forces have discovered that the Vorthak threat was far worse than we initially understood. They were not simply predators. They were systematically harvesting the galaxy's civilizations. Every species that made peace with them was actually signing a death warrant for their descendants. The president activated displays showing restored species from the biofactories. Our scientists are bringing entire civilizations back from extinction. Beings who have been processed in Vorthak biofactories for centuries are breathing free air again. This is why we fight. Admiral Tae-min Hwang coordinated the galaxy-wide offensive from Earth's command center. Battle groups were reporting successful operations across 47 star systems. The Vorthak presence was being systematically eliminated, but their true numbers were staggering. Status report, he requested from General Sung-Ho Yu. Sir, we've destroyed 60% of identified Vorthak nests. The remaining concentrations are in the deep core territories, heavily defended by biostations we've never seen before. Some of them appear to be intelligent in ways the others weren't. Evolved forms? Possibly. Captain Seo's group encountered what appeared to be Vorthak command structures, bioforms capable of tactical thinking and coordinated defense. They're adapting to our weapons. Admiral Hwang studied the tactical displays showing the remaining Vorthak strongholds. The creatures were learning from each defeat, developing countermeasures to human weapons. But humanity was learning too. Order all battle groups to begin Phase 3 operations, he commanded. Deploy the experimental weapons. It's time to see if our most theoretical technologies work against evolved bioforms. Captain Jinwoo Seo received the Phase 3 authorization as his battle group approached the largest Vorthak stronghold yet discovered. The biostation ahead was the size of Earth's moon, but it moved with obvious intelligence. When his ships appeared, it immediately began deploying defenses unlike anything they had seen before. Sir, it's learning from our previous engagements, reported Commander Subin Han. The bioforms are adapting to our weapons in real time. Lieutenant Woo Jin Park studied his weapons display. Sir, standard weapons are having reduced effectiveness. The biostation is developing resistance to our attack patterns. Chief Engineer Dong-hyun Kang activated humanity's most experimental weapon, a device that attacked the quantum foundations of matter itself. Sir, ready to deploy the reality disruptor. This one's theoretical even by our standards. Captain Seo looked at the massive biostation that contained the processed remains of countless civilizations. Somewhere in that nightmare structure were beings who had been slowly converted into Vorthak biomatter over centuries of torment. Fire, he ordered. The reality disruptor reached across space and began editing the biostation out of existence, not destroying it, simply making it so that it had never existed. The weapon rewrote the quantum information that defined the creature's presence in the universe. But the Vorthak Queen form fought back with abilities that defied understanding. It began existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making it impossible for the reality disruptor to lock onto a single target. It's learning faster than we expected, Dr. Heejin Nam reported. This isn't just evolution, it's active technological adaptation at the cellular level. The battle for the core territories had begun, and humanity discovered they were facing an enemy capable of matching their technological innovation with biological adaptation. The final phase of the war would test the limits of both species' capabilities. But Admiral Huang had one more surprise prepared for the Vorthak. Deep in Earth's research facilities, scientists were completing humanity's ultimate weapon, a device that would ensure no Vorthak creature could ever threaten the galaxy again. Admiral Taemin Huang stood on the command bridge of humanity's newest warship, the EDF Absolute Zero, as it approached the final Vorthak stronghold. After 18 months of systematic extermination, only one nest remained, the queen ship that had spawned the entire swarm over millennia of galactic predation. The creature was the size of a small moon, its biomass pulsing with malevolent intelligence. Unlike the other Vorthak forms, this one had adapted to every weapon humanity deployed. It existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making conventional attacks impossible. It had learned to manipulate matter at the quantum level, turning human technology against itself. But Admiral Huang carried humanity's final answer, a weapon that would end not just the Vorthak threat, but ensure that no similar species could ever again terrorize the galaxy. "Sir, the Omega Protocol is ready for deployment," reported Chief Engineer Dong-Hyun Kang from his station. The device they had built was beyond anything previously imagined, a weapon that would rewrite the fundamental laws of physics in a localized area. Captain Jin Woo Seo coordinated the final battle from his position aboard the EDF Retribution. Around him, the combined human fleets formed a sphere around the Queen ship, their weapons charged and ready. But this battle would not be won through firepower alone. "All ships, maintain formation," he broadcast. "Remember, we're not just ending the Vorthak threat. We're sending a message to the galaxy about what happens when you prey on humans." The Queen ship attacked first, deploying bioforms unlike anything seen before. These were intelligent weapons, creatures capable of independent thought and tactical adaptation. They moved through space like living warships, their hulls shifting to resist whatever weapons targeted them. Lieutenant Woo Jin Park, now promoted to commander after his service in the earlier battles, managed the defensive grid. "Sir, the new bioforms are learning from each shot. Our weapons are becoming less effective with every engagement." Dr. Heijin Nam studied the readings from her advanced sensors. "Admiral, I'm detecting something remarkable. The Queen ship isn't just adapting. It's communicating. It's trying to negotiate." For the first time in the war, a Vorthak creature attempted to speak to humans. The message came through bioelectric pulses that the ship's computers translated into understandable language. "Humans, cease. We adapt. We learn. Coexistence possible." Admiral Huang listened to the alien communication with cold interest. After consuming hundreds of civilizations and dissolving 2.3 million humans in acid, the Vorthak Queen wanted to negotiate. "Translation program respond," he ordered. "Tell it that coexistence ended when it chose to feed on our children." The Queen ship's response came faster, more desperate. "Mistake." "Did not understand. Humans different. Will avoid human space. Seek other feeding grounds." "Other feeding grounds," Admiral Huang repeated quietly. He thought of the biofactories where 17 species had been slowly processed over centuries, their bodies converted into Vorthak war forms while their minds remained conscious and aware. "Chief Kang, activate the Omega Protocol. This conversation is over." The weapon humanity had built reached across space and began rewriting reality around the Queen ship. Not just editing it out of existence, changing the fundamental nature of space-time to make Vorthak biology impossible. The device created a zone where the physics that allowed their bioforms to function simply stopped working. The Queen ship fought desperately against the expanding field of altered reality. It tried to exist in other dimensions, but humanity's weapon followed it everywhere. It attempted to retreat into hyperspace, but the omega field made faster-than-light travel impossible for biological organisms of its type. Captain Young-Ho Lim watched from his reconnaissance ship as the creature that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia began to die. "Sir, the bio readings are failing across all spectrums. The Queen ship is losing cohesion at the cellular level." The death took 3 hours. The Queen ship's biomass slowly dissolved as the laws of physics around it changed to prevent its existence. Every Vorthak organism in the galaxy felt their leader's death through some biological connection, and they simply stopped living. The species that had consumed hundreds of civilizations ceased to exist in a single moment. President Yoon Suk-oh addressed the galaxy from Earth's capital, her words broadcast to every civilized world. "The Vorthak swarm is extinct. Their queen ship has been destroyed and all remaining bioforms have died with it. The threat that plagued the galaxy for 10,000 years no longer exists." She paused, looking directly into the cameras that carried her message across space. "Let this be understood by all species. Earth's military fleets remain deployed. We have restored 17 previously extinct civilizations from Vorthak biomatter. We have liberated dozens of worlds from their feeding grounds. But our work is not finished." The president activated displays showing humanity's hidden military strength. "Any species that practices genocide, slavery, or the systematic destruction of sapient life will face the same fate as the Vorthak. We are farmers, explorers, and builders. We prefer to create rather than destroy. But when you threaten innocent life, you discover we are very, very good at war." The Galactic Council offered humanity dominion over all former Vorthak territory and a permanent leadership position in galactic government. Director of Reconstruction Jae-hyun Shin, speaking for Earth, politely declined territorial control but accepted the council seat with conditions. "Earth will maintain our fleets," he announced. "Not for conquest, but for protection. The next time someone decides genocide is acceptable, they'll find us ready." Captain Jin Woo-seo returned to the rebuilt New Sol colony, now serving as a memorial to the 2.3 million humans who died in the original attack. Memorial keeper Hae-won Song had grown a garden from seeds recovered from the destroyed colony, plants that now flourished under the protection of humanity's orbital defense platforms. "Sir," Lieutenant Park, now Admiral Park, said as they walked through the memorial gardens with their children, "Do you think we did the right thing? Complete extinction?" Captain Seo looked at the names carved into the memorial wall. 2.3 million humans, including Soon-ja Park and her family. The Vorthak had 1,000 years to choose a different path. Every time they chose to consume instead of communicate, they made themselves into a plague, and plagues must be cured. His daughter tugged at his uniform, pointing toward the stars. "Papa, are the bad aliens all gone now?" "Yes, little one," he replied. "And if any more come, we'll be ready for them too." Above them, invisible to sensors but very much present, humanity's fleets continued their patrol of the galaxy. Battle groups moved through dark space between the stars, their crews maintaining watch over civilizations that now slept peacefully for the first time in millennia. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their tactics. It was their refusal to accept that evil was inevitable. Where other species had chosen accommodation and surrender, humans chose justice and protection. In the depths of space, automated monitoring stations detected no Vorthak biosignatures anywhere in the galaxy. The species that had fed on civilizations for 10,000 years was extinct, remembered only in the databases of their victims and in the memorial gardens where humans honored their dead. Earth's representatives took their seats in the Galactic Council, not as conquerors but as guardians. They had proven that peace was possible when those who threatened it faced overwhelming consequences. The war was over. The gods of war could rest, secure in the knowledge that they had kept their promise to Governor Dae-ho Kim's final transmission. They had remembered the dead and they had made the killers pay, but the fleets remained ready, hidden in the darkness between stars, waiting for the next species foolish enough to believe that might made right. The galaxy was at peace, but it was a peace maintained by the quiet promise that humanity would never again allow genocide to go unanswered. Some called it the end of an era. Others called it the beginning of galactic civilization. Humanity called it justice, finally served.